Hello. So I am going to be working on this beautiful Spanish hutch. To me, it has like a lot of Portuguese style like influences on it. So really a neat piece. Not too glossy of a finish, all solid wood. No, I don't think no, I don't believe there's any veneer on it. It doesn't look like there is to me. Um, it's going to be a fun piece. All those spindles are going to be a challenge. That's a lot of spindles. And I tell you, what's going to be a big challenge is the spindles that are by the edges. That's going to be hard to get a brush in there. And so it can be done. You'll have to go in and out both sides, but that's everywhere. I mean, top and bottom, all the way across and down on the sides. On the sides, on the bottom, they're not so close. Lots of detail. Good solid wood back. Has a lighting fixture in the back. So I usually take out the back wall panel, but this is braced in, so I'm not going to be doing that. I'm going to get started on this by cleaning it really well. Then I'm going to scuff sand it. Let me get where that light's not shining on you. And when I scuff sand, I like to use like an 80 to a 120 sanding sponge. I could take my orbital sander to the top part, but it's not that bad. It's not very glossy. I don't really think it'll need it. So after I clean, scuff sand, then I'm going to take liquid Jasco. I'm going to pour it in like a little cottage cheese container, use a chip brush. I'm going to go over the whole piece inside and out. It's like a liquid sander deglosser. I have noticed the biggest benefit is that when I use the liquid sander and deglosser, the result that I get and why I take the time and money, it's like one jug of it will cost like $8, $9. And one jug would probably do 2 or 3 of these, probably 3 of these hutches. So you get a few pieces out of it. But the biggest result why I do it is use the liquid sander and deglosser is your paint finish, it hardens. Like it hardens more than it does when you don't take this step. And by hardening, I mean it makes it more scuff, scratch resistant. Things hit up against it. I took my fingernail and rubbed it across the piece that I did 2 coats of liquid deglosser on it. I mean, it didn't even scratch at all. And I mean, that's a good sign. So I've noticed it just paint adheres better, makes it a lot harder. And the times where I don't use it is if I'm doing some of my big old world armoires and stuff where I want more of a chippy, faded look. Then sometimes I won't use the Jasco on that because I want a lot of the wood showing through and it makes it harder to wet distress. But most of the time I use it, like 75–80% of the time. Definitely going to use it on this piece. So this is going to be just an initial video to get going. Consider it like part 1, and then we'll probably have a part 2 and part 3. That way they won't, be so long, and it'll take me a little bit to get through this piece because there's a lot there. I have some really great colors, and I'm just gonna walk over here. I'm gonna show you some of the things that I bought at Lowe's. Okay, so this is a Krylon Chalky Finish paint. It's not the same as, most of you guys know this, but if you are new to redoing furniture, new to chalk paint, you may not know that. So that's why I'm covering this. It's Krylon Chalky Finish Paint. This is from Lowe's. I've had good success with it. I've used the more expensive chalk paints. This is about $20 a quart, and I've liked the more expensive ones, but I haven't liked them better than what I get from Lowe's. And so it's a Valspar paint brand, and you get to choose any Valspar color. So I bought 4 quarts of paint. Now I won't even use, I bought 4 quarts of paint because I needed 4 different colors and are out of samples where I could have mixed up my own chalk paint. So I'll use these 4 quarts of paint on, so $80 in paint, but I'll use those, on future projects as well, not just on the hutch. Okay, Jasco is the brand that I buy. Lately, they've been out. So this is Clean Strip Liquid Sandpaper. And so when I say liquid sander and deglosser or Jasco, this is what I'm talking about. If you want to look, I like the Jasco brand, but this brand works really well too. And so it's a degreaser and deglosser. Some people have said, Casey, when I apply it, I don't see any result. Most of the time you don't. I think they're thinking they're going to see all the stain colors stripped away. In my experience, that's not what it does unless you apply many coats. But it removes that gloss. It's like sanding it. It's a safe way to sand because if you have an old piece that may have lead on it, you're not getting all those particles up in the air. So I bought that. I bought some brush cleaner. I'm going to soak my brushes. I use my brushes for... Not that this is the best thing to do, but this is just the truth. I use my brushes several days in a row, and I put them in a bucket of water, and a little tub of water, and then after about a week, then I will pour this into a metal tub. It has to be metal, not plastic. I'll pour them into a metal can or a metal tub, just enough where the brush part is covered. I'll let it sit overnight. The next day, I'll rinse them out really well with a gallon of water outside, and then my brushes, I'll bang them out to shake the water out, and then I let them dry. My brushes are good to go again. So I bought some of that. I'm going to be mixing paint colors. This is $3. It keeps me from wasting paint. You can also do it in cottage cheese containers and stuff like that. I know I use those a lot, but I picked up a couple of these today. I'm going to make some custom colors and mark it. It's $3 for these. I got 2 of those. And there was something else that I wanted to show you. And I think it's still in the truck. But I got some Floeterol. And it's the brand Flood and Floeterol. You pour a little bit of Floeterol. You can do it. I don't do it all the time. I do it some of the time. You pour a little bit into your paint, and that helps you if you don't want, your brush strokes to be seen. It definitely helps reduce your brush strokes. So I don't really care about that too much on this Spanish hutch because it's going to look pretty rustic and very old world. So I'm not worried about the brush strokes on it. But if you do, some finer pieces like the tops of these where you really don't want brush strokes seen, then adding some Floeterol to it, or if you're doing, let me show you this guy. Where you have big, long, flat surfaces. Big, long, flat surfaces. And so like that one too, that's done in a very old world style. And so I wasn't worried about brush strokes. But if you want to reduce them, putting Floeterol inside your paint, and on the can it tells you how much to use, or the jug, then that helps you to have your paint goes on so smooth. Another thing you can do to have a smoother finish is to sand, a light sand, 220 sand, in between each coat of paint. So you put on a coat of paint, let it dry, give it a little sanding, and then your next coat of paint, if you already have pretty decent coverage, dip your brush into a can of paint, dip it a little bit into a cup of water, and then add that on, or you can use the Floeterol. And what it does, like on your second coat, when you apply it with chalk paint, there's friction. And so that friction creates like a drag. And so to avoid that drag, using the Floeterol or dipping your brush in water helps a lot. So I'm going to go get started. I will film a little bit. I'm going to do it in probably like a time-lapse mode. So because, you know, prep work takes a long time. And so I just want to explain to you what I'm doing as I go over it. But I don't think you need to spend like an hour and a half watching me sand and clean something and all of that. Not that it'll take me an hour and a half, but you know. I hope you are having a great December, and not that December started, but it's going to start. And so I hope you will have a good one. I hope the holidays are good to you this year. Thank you so much for being a patron. I'm excited to get to know you and your creative journey better. I look forward to hearing your questions and your comments and, you know, input on what you're working on. So I'll talk to you later.